This is a video recording for the INI-CET May 2026 Dermatology subject by Dr. Maddineni Srinivas. This is the first MCQ asked from Dermatology, so you can see it is a match the following type, which is very favorite for INI-CET examiners. Pseudo-Nikolsky sign. So if you remember, we have read this in the drug reactions topic in SJS and also TN, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, toxic epidermal necrolysis, where the underlying cause is necrosis of the keratinocytes, because of which there is going to be sheet-like peeling whenever we give a tangential pressure on the normal looking skin. So we can mark here, it is option number D. Positive Nikolsky sign, we have read this in the vesicular bullous disorders topic, where the underlying acanthosis is responsible for the loss of cohesion between the keratinocytes, because of which there is going to be separation of the epidermis from the underlying dermis, which is called as Nikolsky sign positivity, and it is seen in among the given options pemphigus vulgaris. So option C. False Nikolsky. This is very interesting. False Nikolsky can be seen in the subepidermal blistering disorders, in which if we try to give a tangential pressure, there is not going to be any loss of the epidermis, there is not going to be any peeling of the skin. So this is going to be the option A, which is the bullous pemphigus, which is a subepidermal blistering disorder. So because in the dermis there are no keratinocytes, so there is no acanthosis happening, so we cannot see the Nikolsky sign in the subepidermal blistering disorder. Coming to cerebriform tongue, this was a new thing which was asked first time. So it is pemphigus vegetans, which is a variant of pemphigus, where we are going to see the cerebriform tongue, which is going to appear something like this. As you are able to see, the gyri and sulci which are present in the brain, just like that, this is appearing over the tongue. So that's why it is described as cerebriform tongue. And here you can see this is a differentiating point between the true Nikolsky and the pseudo Nikolsky sign. If the underlying cause is acanthosis, it is called as true Nikolsky sign. But if it is due to the necrosis of the keratinocytes, which can be seen in SJS and TN, it is called as pseudo Nikolsky sign. So here what will be the answer? D, C, A, B. So it is going to be option B. And you can see here, this is from the hyper revision notes. You can see Nikolsky sign positivity is very much mentioned here. Nikolsky sign negative is mentioned in bullous pemphigus and pemphigus respectively. This is a very important topic, which we can say sexually transmitted disorders, which is almost asked in each and every examination. And in INI-CET also this was asked. 24-year-old male coming with 3 to 4 painful grouped vesicles. This term is very important. That is, there are grouped vesicles which are present over the genitals. And also image was also given. What is the most likely organism? What is the diagnosis you want to think of whenever there is grouped vesicular lesions, fluid-filled lesions? Always you should think of the diagnosis, which is herpes. If it is present near the oral cavity, it is herpes labialis. But if it is present in the genital area, it is called as herpes genitalis. So what is the causative agent? It's going to be herpes simplex virus type 2. Next we have this child which is presenting with intensely itchy vesicular lesions over the palms and the soles, and there were itchy lesions over the periumbilical region, and also image was given which was showing some vesicular lesions present over the palms and soles. So this is a very, very classical presentation of which condition? So it is scabies. Now you might get a doubt, sir, why is it not atopic dermatitis? So remember, dear students, according to the Hanifin-Rajka criteria, if this has to be patient of atopic dermatitis, the major criteria should be fulfilled. So what are those major criteria? One among them is pruritus, that is itching, and here it is mentioned as itching. Okay, that one criteria is fulfilled. But what about the others? What are the other criteria? So there should be a history of the specific site distribution according to the phase. That is, in the infantile phase, the eczematous changes should be there, which are predominantly present over the face and also the extensors. Coming to the childhood phase, the lesions are predominantly present over the flexural areas. And in the adult phase, again the flexural side are going to have the eczematous changes. There should also be a history of atopy in the personal or in the family history. And also there should be a very important mention of chronicity of the condition. None of them is mentioned. So we can rule this option out. Bullous pemphigus, it is going to present with honey colored crusting in a child, especially near the periorificial area. So that is also not the case here. So as you all know, there is going to be salmon erythematous block, which is going to be surmounted by the silvery white scaling. It is also not given, so it is not the correct answer. And in fact, this is a very important topic which is even discussed in the notes also. As you can see here, the adult scabies, the face is paired. What is the reason for this? Because the sebum which is present in the face, it is going to kill the sarcoptes scabies mite. Whereas infantile scabies, because in the childhood, in the infants, the sebaceous glands are not yet active, so face is going to be affected. And also in the infants, it is observed very classically that the palms and soles are going to have the vesicular lesions. As you can see here, the face is affected, and also you can see here there are vesicular lesions present on the palms and the soles. Very, very important. And in fact, this topic scabies, somehow it's favorite for the examiner. Recently, the examiner asked about the safe treatment modalities which can be used in the pregnant woman. Now again this topic. So somehow the examiner got bored by asking all the previous questions, so they are trying some new type of questions in the old topics, right? So that's why you have to be a thorough, not only with PYQs but also with the surrounding aju baju wale jo bhi topics hote, you should be thorough with the topics. Next is a child presents with a scalp having scaly lesions associated with itching and the hair loss. So this is very important history which is actually mentioned here. Child is a very, very important clue, because child having this patchy hair loss associated with scaly and itching. The first and foremost diagnosis you must think of is tenia capitis. Tenia capitis. So in such case, what are the medications we are going to use? Tenia capitis. So remember, the oral antifungals will be the treatment for these patients, and in the oral antifungals you have this griseofulvin, which is going to be the overall drug of choice. Whereas if it is specifically mentioned as trichophyton species, then the medication will be terbinafine, which is again an oral antifungal. So for trichophyton, and here you can easily remember it with T and T, terbinafine for trichophyton species, right? And this may be also the presentation of the child who is having this multiple scaly patches of itchy hair loss, which if it is not treated, if it is a chirion or if it is a favors, then it's going to lead to a scarring type of alopecia. Scarring alopecia. Again, this is a separate hair related topic. And if it is grey patch or black dot variety of tenia capitis, the hair loss is not going to be temporary, and it is non-scarring type of alopecia or non-cicatricial alopecia. Next, a neonate, or we can say a newborn, is brought with the lesion as shown in the image. And in the image, it was told that students have seen the child is having erosion over the extremities, right? And it was given that the child is feeding normally and has no fever, hypotension, or any signs of shock. So the child, the newborn, is absolutely normal, comfortable, without any other problems apart from the skin lesions. So what do you think is the most likely diagnosis? So remember, in this case, students were having many doubts about the other differentials which are there in the options. So first of all, let us rule out the bullous pemphigoid, which is going to be seen as a tense bullous lesions in a elderly age group. But here it is mentioned as a newborn, neonate, so it can be ruled out. Coming to the other options, so staphylococcus scarlet skin syndrome, it is associated with staphylococcal exfoliated toxin A and B, which are going to damage the desmoglein 1, which will lead to the bullous lesions in the child, and it will ultimately become generalized and to form sheet-like epidermal peeling. And there is going to be Nikolsky positivity, and also acantholysis is seen underlying everything. But here the point to note is that the child is going to have definitely fever, and also child is going to be restless. There is going to be a lot of pain because of the underlying acantholysis happening in the skin, and also the most of the skin is going to become erythematous. So there is going to be erythema over the skin. Since all these features are absent in this particular case, we can rule this option out. So we are left out with epidermolysis bullosa, which is a mechanobullous disorder due to genetic defects in the skin proteins. And the next option is pemphigus due to the transplacental antibody. So these are the two options which are very close. And if you look at this, I have made a differentiating table for you to easily understand. So you can see epidermolysis bullosa. In this case, what happens is there is going to be site of involvement, which is trauma-prone areas. That is, this is basically mechanobullous disorder. So wherever there is mechanical friction between the skin and the other person or whoever is handling the child, there is going to be development of the blister in the child. Okay. So in the site, in the picture, if you see, the site of involvement is especially the areas which are there is going to be high possibility of friction because of the holding mechanical friction, right? And also, what are the other points? That is, systemic toxicity is going to be absent in the epidermolysis bullosa because there is no any infection or there is no any toxin in this condition. Okay. And it is best fit for well-appearing neonate with a trauma-induced blistering. So this is the reason why the FEM figures due to transplacental antibodies has one important feature. That is, there is going to be this desmoglein 3 antibodies which will be reaching the fetus. Because of this, what can happen? Because desmoglein 3 is present in higher concentration of mucosa, mucosal involvement is going to be seen, because of which there is going to be oral mucosal involvement leading to erosions, ulcerations, which can lead to difficulty in the feeding of the child. Right, that is a possibility. And in fact, if the examiner wants you to mark the answer as this option, most likely they would have given this mucosal involvement, but mucosal involvement, which is very common, has been not mentioned, and it is in fact written that the child is able to have normal feeds. That itself is ruling out the option number D. So we are left out with this epidermolysis bullosa, which is the best fit for this particular question. Okay. Next, this is the question which is actually, we can say, extended version of the previous year question. So previously what was asked, it was given the melanoma was given in the question, and they have asked what is the most common type of melanoma in the Indian subpopulation or dark skinned individuals. And the answer for that question was acral lentiginous melanoma. Now they have given you the picture of acral lentiginous melanoma, and they are asking you if there is this painless black lesion, what is the investigation which you are going to perform to confirm the diagnosis. So remember, we are going to do a skin biopsy. In fact, we are going to do excisional skin biopsy, send the entire lesion for the histopathological examination to identify what is the Breslow's thickness, at what level is the melanoma cell below the granular cell layer, and also we can do the Clark's method to figure out the prognosis along with the confirmation of the diagnosis, which is melanoma, right? And for all your students who are having this doubt whether, sir, why can't this be tenia nigra, which is going to present as blackish discoloration of the palms and soles. So remember, the discoloration usually will be light brown in color, or at the most, if it is very dark, it may be dark brown in color with this kind of small blotchy pigmentation, but not this type of, we can say, a generalized proper symmetrically appearing pigmentation which is pitch black in color instead of the brown color, right? This is very classical. This is very classical of melanoma, malignant melanoma, which is arising from the melanocytes. Next is this question. So this, we can say, is just a factual question. Tattoo ink in the skin is going to be present in the dermis. So remember, if you look at this picture, this is not given in the examination, but here you can see there is a patient who's having the tattoo over which there was epidermal burn. So epidermis is gone, then the dermal layer of the skin which is having the skin color is becoming evident, as you can see here. This is the epidermal burn here, and you can see the dermis layer is showing the color of the tattoo ink, right? And if a patient wants to get the tattoo removed, then this Q-switched India glazer can be used for that purpose. That may be the future question, so I have covered it. Next, it is this question which is related to genodermatosis, most likely clinical diagnosis associated with these images, right? And you are able to see some, Irish hamartomas, which are the list nodules, and you are able to see hyperpigmented brown colored macules and patches, which are mostly cafe au lait macules. You can also see there is a proptosis because of the optic nerve glioma. All these are characteristic features of neurofibromatosis type 1 NF1. So the answer is going to be option A. So these were the questions. If you have any doubts, you can reach me out on Telegram and you can tag me so that your doubts will be clarified. Thank you so much. Happy learning. Bye bye. All the very best.